Do we have a new amount of skepticism around the AI trade since we're talking about that and since we're going to get Nvidia this week? No, I feel like there's more questions lately being asked about CapEx bubble. Yeah. What the return on all that money is. A lot being written about it. If you look at month to date, Apple's the biggest winner, but that hasn't been considered one of the hyperscalers around, real generative AI.
Jimmy's Alphabet's got a 52-week high today.
Meta's down 2.5%, right? They reorganized their AI unit. They announced that last week again. Microsoft hasn't traded well. Amazon hasn't traded very well.
I don't know that fundamentally it's because there's this overwhelming concern as it relates to AI. There's a lot being written about There's a lot being written about CapEx overspend, and guess what? In reality, we're not going to know whether that is actually true until the coming quarters. It's just going to be something that is an after the fact. No one is going to be able to really see if these companies are overspending in the moment. They're not sitting in the headquarters of these companies. So the possibility does exist. I'm not dismissing that. I think more than anything else, the reason why you're seeing Meta and Microsoft and some of the names you're mentioning that are underperforming recently is because capital is going away from there. It's going into things like the Equal Weight S&P.
Yeah, well, Bank of America
it's going into other areas of the market.
The mega cap run may be close to being done because of all that.
But it's not. I don't know that the fundamentals are supporting what you're suggesting. It's not like money's running away because you're seeing a deterioration in the fundamentals. You absolutely can see that over the coming quarters. I'm not calling into question that premise, but the reality of that has not happened to date.
They don't suggest that the run may be close to done in quotes because of declining fundamentals. They simply look at what other people on the desk have looked at.
If it's repositioning, fine. I would acknowledge that. That's fine. I have no problem if you say it's repositioning. But let's not attribute it to some change in the fundamentals, because in the most recent earnings, that wasn't represented, and you still have Nvidia reporting this week, and they're on pace for $200 billion in revenue in fiscal year 26.
And every indication is that's intact. That's intact. I mean, I'll make this quick, Steve. Last quarter we had that, $5 billion write-off on China chips from Nvidia. How much of that are they going to reverse now that their export licenses are in place? It's not going to be the whole thing, but some of it's going to be there. And that's not the only reason that earnings and guidance from Nvidia are likely to be better than expected. Now, the stock, I would argue, is cheap at about a 1.4 times PEG. But just be careful. I mean, it's rallying into earnings, and one wonders. It's had a few times where it's reported great earnings and gone down afterwards.
Well, Goldman today says the near-term gains may be limited, even though you get a couple of price target bumps for Nvidia. Weiss, what do you want to say?
Yeah, I'd say, look, first of all, analysts like to talk long-term, except comments like that, they're lagging, are sort of ridiculous. They're very short-term. Stocks have had major moves. At some point, they got to rest. Now, let's go back to Sam Altman's comments where he said there may be a bubble here. Why would Sam say that? Sam would say that to keep money from going into competitors. I mean, valuations are lunacy, so he's right about that. But he doesn't want potential competitors to get funding. So that's part of it. Sarah Fryer straightened that out on CNBC last week, said, no, there's no bubble. It's growing extremely fast. So I'm not really concerned. I can tell you that as far as data centers go, we had a private investment in a data center site. So right now they don't have a hyperscaler in there. They're in negotiations with a few of them. If they don't get it, then I'll bring that news to you.
I know, but nobody ever parting in the bubble says there's the bubble. No one ever in the bubble raises their hand and says, you know what, the bubble's about to break. You never realize.
I do think
it's a bubble. You realize until after the fact.
To me, it depends where you invest. So I'm not investing in the next OpenAI at 1,000 times revenues because they just started in business and somebody gave them a $10 million research contract. That's not where we're investing. That is a bubble. A lot of those companies will go belly up, undoubtedly. And the valuations for an OpenAI will reset lower. However, I don't think the technology is a bubble. That's where I draw
the stakes going into the print on Wednesday. Put that back up if you guys could, please. Nvidia's up 38% in 3 months going into the print. So if you don't think that raises the stakes, okay. I think it does. We'll see. Quick.
Yeah,
I think it raises the stake as well. And I think, look, you're making an excellent point on a bubble, but you've had people who for the last 7 or 8 years have been telling you this is a bubble as the market has marched higher. You will be able, once the bubble bursts, momentum works both ways, in an uptrend and a downtrend. You will be able to take your position and adjust it accordingly when the fundamentals and the evidence represent that the bubble has bursted. And the problem is when bubbles have bursted in the past and the market rolls over, that's the point where people who were bearish all along take the other side of it and start buying on the way down. You have to have the discipline.
We're in the second inning of the AI trade. That implies that we're not even close to peak bubble, if there even is one.
And what I'm relaying to you is down.
Which part of the AI trade? That's what we're in the second inning of. We're only in the second inning of the first stage of this. We have 7 more innings, Scott, where this is going to expand to all of the other industries and sectors, and they're going to implement AI and create greater productivity, and that's why you have to see that shift.